Yeah, what's up? Two quick
Hey,
points I want to make, brother. I was watching. I saw Cornell Belcher. That brother's a renowned pollster, and
yeah,
when
he's
it came
great.
to the midterm, and when it came to the midterms, and even 2016, he was one of the few ones that predicted that outcome. And when the midterms, he got on point. Now, this brother said on NSNBC, he said according to his polling that the Biden's on track to get 3 to 5 percentage more black male percentage vote than Hillary Clinton. So that's Cornell Belcher. Secondly,
Hmm.
I do think this conversation, not, of course, I know you're not doing this purposely, brother, but I do think this conversation does build into a false narrative. Because if you're saying that Biden's going to get 83% of the black male vote, and then 15 or 17% are either not going to vote or going to vote for Trump. I mean, I think we need to equate this just to the equal level of the significance of what it should be. And I think that's why you have black men are problematic, trending on Twitter, because this is becoming bigger than what it is. And I
Well,
think
wait, Andre, let me just say this. Let me just say this. Then I'll let Terrence respond. So, a couple things here. One, I was on TV during the election cycle. I was on CNN, on Don Lemon's show, and I was talking about the importance of the black male vote. So a while back, Drew McCaskill was on this show, and he said to me that black men over 40 from the Midwest and from the South are being ignored. Now, mind you, I don't know how I feel about black men under 30 in Oakland. If they're getting attention, I don't know. Me and Drew didn't agree with that. But I made a promise that I was going to make sure that we talk about these issues. What I don't want to do is ignore what I'm hearing out there. This is more than what I'm hearing in memes. So for me, I think it's important to talk about it, to put factual information behind it, and to also debunk things that aren't factual. Because Andre, you listen to the show all the time. The folks that call into this show and are Trump supporters, I rarely ever get a black woman. The percentages that Terrence is probably outlining is kind of the percentage of black male Trump supporters that I get calling into this show. So I just think we can't ignore it. I want to attack every strategy, Andre. I'm not building into a false narrative. If there's something out there, again, it's only 1 or 2 percentage points that, as far as
That's right.
black folks not coming out or voting for the other side, that can really affect us. We're in a dangerous situation. Like for me, I feel like if we don't win, this is going to be Donald Trump Jr. being the next president, then Ivanka Trump being the next president. I know how dictators work, and there's a certain playbook that he's following. So I want to debunk whatever I can with my platform, all the propaganda. And if there are folks falling for it, maybe listening to me or seeing the clip on YouTube or on the app, hearing Terrence, maybe they'll be like, oh, wait a minute. Like Terrence, you always point out, they spent some $6 million on Facebook ads around criminal justice, Trump's team. Now, they're not doing it because they care. They're doing it because that's the BS they're hoping is going to resonate, and they may not know the strategy behind it. So that's what I'm doing. It's not feeding into a narrative. It's trying to tell the truth and hopefully get to some people to make sure even somewhere in Urban View, we can have a small shift to, be frank, the bullshit that's being fed to them. Go ahead, Terrence.
That's exactly right, man. And, I just want to point out, I respect the hell out of Cornell Belcher because that's the man who made me a pollster. When I decided to go into polling, I looked for black men in this industry, and I found two of them. And I went and asked one of them to mentor me, and not only did he mentor me, he hired me. And I worked, and I trained and worked under Cornell for 5 years as his vice president of research at William Corners. So I respect the man. Look, I absolutely admire his succinct analysis of this, and I agree that that Joe Biden might get 2 or 3% more black men votes than Hillary Clinton, but Hillary Clinton got 81%. 2 or 3% more could still mean we lose, right? I
Because
don't
we
think
did
Nancy
lose.
Cornell are saying
We
something
did.
different. That's exactly right. To get 2 or 3% more than her losing margin does not put us in a column of victory. So I don't think Nancy Cornell are saying something different here. The difference was last time a lot of those black men splintered third party, whereas Donald Trump has targeted specifically that disaffected black man, the one that detracted to third party, and has removed them from that third party column into the Donald Trump column. So it's not that he's like, going to find some mythical new disaffected voter. These voters were disaffected in 2016 too. He's just going to talk to them and win them back into his column. And then the last thing I'll say is, by no means do I want to appear to be blaming black men for this. The same way I wouldn't, and I said this to you last time, Clay, I wouldn't blame, if I worked at Coca-Cola, I'm not blaming the consumer that chooses not to buy Coca-Cola. I got to find a way to make my product better to that consumer. And this is incumbent upon Democrats to make their product more appealing to black men. But at the same time, we have to, this is what I like to call shaking the trees. And I'm going to tell you guys the truth here on Clay's show. When I go in the media and I do this song and dance about black men, it's one, because I think everyone else is ignoring it. I think everyone else sees it and is ignoring it. And two, because when I shake the table, the trees start to shake. Money starts getting spent on talking to black men. When I start screaming about John James in Michigan getting 20% of black men, and I'll be very clear, if John James in Michigan, the black man running for Senate in Michigan, if he gets 20% of black men's votes in Michigan, then Gary Peters is no longer a U.S. Senator. And if Gary Peters is not a senator, then Democrats do not have the Senate.
That's right.
And so when I yell about that, hundreds of thousands of dollars get spent to go and talk to black men about their issues. And so I'm going to keep on shaking the table here, guys, and it's because I believe that these are still our voters, right? They're just disaffected and they're frustrated.
And for those that don't know, John James is a Republican. He's a black Republican. He's challenging what's his name again? The Democratic senator in
Gary
Michigan.
Peters.
He's challenging Gary Peters in Michigan. And John James is being supported and getting tons of money poured in by Trump supporters. And he's been endorsed by Trump. And Mitch McConnell. Yeah. So to me, John James could be the next, although not Attorney General, but he could be the next Daniel Cameron. Right? Like, I'm telling you, I told you all this before, there are a record number of black Republicans running for office right now, and they're getting tons and tons of money poured in, regardless of their experience, just because Republicans know having a person in a black body spewing their kind of nonsense is profitable. So that John James, that's very scary. That's very scary. And this is a stone-cold Trump supporter and has not done anything to challenge the kind of madness that Trump has said. So I'm with you, Terrance, brother. You got to shake the tree. Final comment, Andre. Go ahead. Final comment.
I stand corrected, brothers. Just anxiety. I just don't want this SOB to win. So y'all guys are correct. Just anxiety.
I got you, brother. I got you.